We said nobody of us would hold a share in the organization. It would be a for-profit, and then we structured it in a way that 3 not-for-profits own 100% of the organization. We wanted to do a social experiment that if you are looking at the needs of the poor, can you actually create an organization that is finally run by the people from the client base themselves? Not from saying that it's a city where or from IIT or from Stanford or anywhere else. Can you create an authentic organization that is run by the people? And so we started that as an experiment 20 years ago. Not looking at solar as, okay, we are going to do solar power. Are we looking at, I should have brought a presentation that I did in 95. And the questions that were asked are similar to the questions that are asked today after 20 years. What happens if the grid comes? What is your cost of technology? If we had hesitated and trying to keep answering those, the 250,000 households that we have done wouldn't have got electricity. Wouldn't have had any electricity. We would have kept debating whether this is cheap or that is cheap or this is expensive or that is expensive. We can actually do multiple papers doing it. Ultimately, what has happened after 67 years of independence, we still have 45% of the households without electricity. Period. We can debate about it, we can talk about it, we can draw everything we can do. Which is expensive versus who debates which is expensive is what are people who are enjoying it. And I'll go through a little bit of the examples of just my personal experience of 20 years. Gone through what running Celco, working with the colleagues that I have. One is, before Celco took 2 years, it took me 2 years to unlearn what I learned in IIT. 2 years में बोलता हूँ, लेकिन ताकि प्रोफेसर्स अच्छा लगेगा। So, and also about, and I keep telling, I got into IIT because 600 million Indians did not like it. If they had electricity and light, I would not have got into IIT. Plain and simple. We say we are smart because it's only X percentage of people who write it. If all those people had electricity, I personally would not have got into IIT. If you ask what All India rank could have been, I think it would have been much, not within the range. What it has taught me is, it's where we have to make a differentiation between education and learning. I met a lot of learned people in the rural areas. Education is linked to certification, while learning is not linked to certification. If all of us had a PhD on sugarcane, we all will be called experts on sugarcane, while a farmer who has done sugarcane for 35 years will have to listen from us what he should do with his sugarcane. And that, I think, works. What it is. Simple things, very simple things about if 250,000 households, that's approximately 1 million people that we have reached out to in terms of solar. Average household that we reach out is between 1,500 to 2,500 rupees a month is their income. If they have put solar without subsidies, basically destroying the men, what they did was they needed. Nobody says, I want solar, I want this, I want that. If you look at some, I'll give you some examples. Somebody says, how many of this, I asked the same question in IIT Bombay last time, how many of us in this room have ever paid for charging a cell phone? How many of us have paid for charging a cell phone? Not minutes, but whenever you see the airport, whenever you are going to charge a cell phone. But how many of us have ever paid? 45% of this country pays for charging a cell phone. 45%. The cheapest is Karnataka, where the cost of charging a cell phone is 5 rupees. In Bihar, it's 8 rupees. Because distances are high and the bus charges are included, it's 8 rupees. Average people charge 8 to 10 times a month. That's around 40 to 50 rupees on cell phone charging. For a person who earns 1,500 rupees. And let's take the example of the best case, that's Karnataka, which is so-called modern, etc., etc. If you look at rural areas, the average expenditure for people who earn 1,500 to 2,000 rupees on kerosene and candles is between 140 to 160 rupees per month. Now take 140 to 160, add your cell phone charges, it's around 200 rupees a month. 200 multiplied by 12 is around 52,500 rupees a year. multiplied by 5 years is 12,500 rupees in 5 years. For what? For kerosene, candles and cell phone charging. And end of 5 years, you have no assets at home. You have just spent that money. It's gone. Now, a solar system, which we all say is expensive, and we can, the gentleman talk about decentralized versus centralized and talk cost economics. But these people now, as somebody made in 1976, somebody said no power is more expensive than no power. Right? Now, we have to look at what the baselines are. A solar power at 14% interest costs 9,000 rupees in 5 years. The barrier now is not technology. We know technology exists. The barrier is not affordability, because if we, now she is going to pay that 200 rupees, the barrier is, will the bank give a loan? That's the barrier. It's not technology, it's not. The issue is somewhere else. So when we went and asked this bank, for example, whether it's Sunalahadi near Mysore or whether the Sindhi communities in central Karnataka, whether it's Kota, the same issue. Poorer you go, the cost of energy actually, the expenditure per income, per percentage of their monthly income goes up, and the credit accessibility actually goes up. The bank said, and this is where I think some of our innovations came here, not the technology side. The bank said, we went with these 30 odd families in both sides. Well, what if they have 10 food by 10 food? They will never pay, etc. We said, what do you want as a guarantee? They said 100%. So we put 100% against these 30 families. After 6 months, we went and asked the bank. This was the Karnataka Vikas Gramin Bank. What is a payment? They said payment is excellent. I said, if you knew this information 6 months ago, what guarantee would you have taken from me? They said 20%. So we immediately removed our 80% out. That 20% unlocked 4 times the local capital. When we went and asked the cities or Sunalahadi or the exactly the same answer, the best answer was the Mysore lady who said, light is great, but as soon as I finish my loan, solar loan, I will buy a sewing machine. Basically, I have become bankable. I am now in the formal system of the Indian banking system. As soon as the solar loan is taken, I have taken. So what has decentralized energy done is help people go multiple rungs in the social ladder. Now can we calculate the cost of actually going there? We have cross-subsidized RBI's inclusion. We have cross-subsidized her becoming an asset owner, that is solar and a sewing machine. We have subsidized her becoming formal into the Indian sector. How do we calculate that cost of ecosystem? Look at cost is not per unit, per kilowatt. We can all debate that. It's a cost of how do you get people out of poverty. So here she said, now the bank said fine. With that 20%, the bank has financed 155 households or 160 households. Effectively, my guarantee has now become 1%. Right? It was not technology innovation. It was not. It was about how do you look at innovation. What was the missing link? The finance. Everybody will look at that household, 10 feet by 10 feet, the cities are cities, are these African slaves who were brought in by the Portuguese, and then the Portuguese went back and slaves were still there. And if you go to central Karnataka, if you know the Jali Sindhi, it's all part of that into Pakistan. But they about 15,000 of them are settled in central Karnataka. No access. If you go to their house, it's time frozen in life. Now they are all bankable. Did we use the word subsidy? No. Did we use the word climate change? No. Did we use the word environment? No. But the beauty of added benefit is we created a solution that a solution for climate change, right? Without even talking about climate change. Now, how do you come up with similar innovations? How do we have the students to actually go and spend time in the rural areas to actually find this is the missing part. This is for example, there are these Muslim traders from 7 generations they have been making drums, and they are based out of slums of Bangalore. Beautiful drums for 7th generation. बोलो हमको सोलर चाहिए कितना 8,000 कितना 4 घंटे I do X number of more drums. I can pay around 1 साल का फाइनेंसिंग, मेरे को 2 साल का नहीं चाहिए, 1 साल का फाइनेंसिंग चाहिए. मैं एक ही चीज है, only one thing. That need was there. They could afford. Technology existed. The barrier was not there. Barrier बोला सर एक चीज कर सकते आप हमारे लिए हमको 15 मिनट टाइम दिया जाता evict to run. Police comes at 1 o'clock in the night and said 1:30 निकलो तुम यहाँ से. आप सोलर सिस्टम फोल्डेबल बना सकते हो ताकि हम उस पर लेके भाग सकते हैं. It's not technology, it's not affordability, it's design. It's design. Same issue with Manipur. In Manipur, there are two women entrepreneurs who actually do this. They said to ask them, the houses where we installed solar, because it's an asset, that's the first thing they want to. What happens is they can actually see the flood waters coming, and when they want to take their expensive belongings, solar system is the first one they want to take. They're not interested in the lantern. They want a pure lighting system for the house. Lantern is just a small temporary solution. It's an asset. They want to. Can you make it so that it's easily removable, easily foldable, and we can run with it? Where in engineering courses we have design of that stuff, both from a finance point of view, from a design perspective. And you know, we have in our 320 colleagues, and we have this 220. You know, the engineers, two of them, including myself, the most useless have done none of the solutions in the organization in 20 years. Frankly, I'm not joking. The guys who have done solutions are anthropologists, designers from Shishti School of Design and architectural students, and my rural colleagues. The school model is hats off to them for doing when they started this 5-7 years ago. They did this whole solar panel on schools, and then they actually put up, they eventually asked everybody, when we did the cities were 1,500 rupees a month. They said, how do we challenge ourselves to look at people who earn 800 rupees a month without subsidies? And when we went and asked the 800 rupees people, they said we can pay 2 rupees a day, that's 60 rupees a month. That's equivalent to financing only the battery and the light. So basically a small battery and a battery was less than the weight of the lunchbox. And the panel was on the rooftop of the school. The kid comes with the battery to the school and plugs it into the school's charging station and goes back. If she doesn't come to school, there is no light at home. They stole this idea from the midday meal scheme. Like, kid comes to school for the midday meal scheme, and that's exactly the aim of it. Now, you and me don't pay for the infrastructure, the coal-fired or the iron or the nuclear plant. We pay for X amount of units that come to our house. But we ask the poor to pay for everything else. So now there has to be some use of me in the organization. So I basically put it as an equation. A being the coal-fired plant, B being the transmission line, C being the household. So here A being the school, B being the kid, and C being the household. A plus B could be an entrepreneur delivering lights. So you can come up with various other models, whether it's a street vendor. This is where you can have multiple street vendors, have lights at different pricing strategies delivered by an entrepreneur who charges during the daytime. There are also, most of these is not a